Hello and welcome to this week's IG Live. Today we are continuing our celebration of 10 years of Makeaway Media. That's right, 10 years. And one of the things that Makeaway Media is most known for, I think, is the Kayla series. The Kayla, a modern day princess, which I have displayed behind me. And we're going to be talking to, hello, thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking to author Deedee Cummings, who is the founder of Makeaway Media. And we're going to be talking to her a bit about how the series came to be in terms of the inspiration behind it, but also just the business of it and what an affirmation it was when the Kickstarter happened. For those that aren't familiar, it was a very successful Kickstarter. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that and why she decided to go that route and how they were so successful in doing it. And again, this is part of our celebration of 10 years of Makeaway Media. And you can see, kind of have behind me, maybe I'll bring them a little closer for you. This is the series that we are talking about. Kayla, a modern day princess, that's the latest one. And I see that we have the amazing artist Charlene Mosley on here. You can go back. We've done a couple of interviews with her that you can check out. But we will be having, let me just double check. We'll be having Deedee join us to talk about the Kickstarter. That's actually from before I was part of Makeaway Media. So I'm excited because I don't really know the inside scoop on how that all happened. But I know it was very successful. You can see this is a 5-book series. And they were all published very soon after each other. Yeah, I know, 10 years. It's pretty amazing. And so the Kayla series, I think, is something that a lot of people associate. Of course, Deedee's written a number of other books. I can't even remember how many. Probably most recently, people would also, in addition to the Kayla series, you think about In the Nick of Time and In the Nick of Time 2. And I understand there's going to be a third one. There's also now Kayla has an activity book that you can check out. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about that series today and about the Kickstarter that really made it possible. But also just the fact that, when you do a Kickstarter, I know there are different ways to set them up, but the way most people do it is kind of an all or nothing. So if you don't raise the money, then it doesn't happen. So seeing all the support that the Kayla series got was really just an affirmation of this journey, which is something we talk about a lot, about following part of that, and also gave further inspiration, motivation for maybe taking it to Broadway one day. Hold on, and I've got Ms. Deedee on here for us. Hello.
I'm sorry, I'm running a little late.
Oh, that's all right. We're glad you're here. I was just showing off the books and talking a little bit about the Kickstarter, but that was before my time, so I don't really know the inside story about how it happened and all that was involved.
Oh, it was amazing. In 2020, well, actually in 2019, I decided to tell, I love how you have those books back there.
That's I know. You think I'm trying out, so
That's
hopefully
so
people can still see them.
Hey, everybody that's on. I see some people that joined me over on Makeaway Mindset. I'm so glad to see you over here. In 2019, I had this dream to write a children's series that is loosely inspired by the life of my daughter, actress Kayla. If you're not following her, go follow her because she's wonderful and she's fun to watch on Instagram. But I had this dream to share a children's book story about her journey and what it's like to become a Black actress on Broadway and want that from a young age. But I wanted to write a 5-part picture book series, and I had no idea where I was going to begin because it costs about $5,000 to illustrate a children's book, picture book. And I know that some people are probably, may hear that and say, well, it didn't cost me $5,000 because some people use different illustrators. A lot of people now are getting into digital illustrations, and I've seen some nice digital illustrations, but I've also seen some bad digital illustrations. And I really wanted high quality children's illustration. So I'd already worked with the primary illustrator I work with is Charlene Mosley. I'd already worked with her. I knew what she could do. I knew what we could do together. And so it was really important to me to finish really high quality children's picture books to tell this story. So I knew just the illustrations alone would cost about $25,000. I mean, that's just an exorbitant amount of money. That's not the time that I spend away from, my business writing the stories. That's not editing. That's not the layout, because Charlene or an illustrator does the illustrations, but they don't necessarily lay out the book with the words and the images. And there are a lot of pieces that have to be put in place for a successful children's book, in addition to just the illustrations. So I thought, how am I going to publish this basically $40,000 series? And a friend mentioned to me, have you ever thought about crowdfunding? And so that's how I got started with the idea that I was going to try something like Kickstarter. So once I thought about crowdfunding, then I thought, well, which one? There are multiple places now where you can access crowdfunding. One of the most popular crowdfunding sources we've all heard of is GoFundMe. But GoFundMe has a reputation of being more, unfortunately, tragedies in life, where Kickstarter has a reputation of launching new products and maybe even new business ideas. So I decided with Kickstarter, and the tips that I give everyone, if you're interested in Kickstarter, it's a great platform to use to launch a new product or a business idea, but it does take a lot of work. I was happy that we met our goal, but I hustled every minute to get to that. I've heard some people say that if your goal is not high enough on Kickstarter, then it's almost not worth it because you have to do so much work. So you can set the length of your project, 30 days, 90 days, it can be longer than that. But we set ours at 30 days. It was during the month of Black History. So this was during February 2020. So we combined it also with the story of how important and how Black history is. And that's really ultimately what I was trying to do, was tell the story of this Black performer. And so luckily our goal was high. So it was definitely worth the 28 days in Black History Month. It was definitely worth the 28 days to earn over $40,000. But I know some people who have tried to raise maybe 5,000 in 2 months, and they have worked really hard over those 2 or 3 months. And 5,000 is better than nothing, but you do have to do work. You don't just put your story up on Kickstarter and hope that people give. You have to stand out. Otherwise, you'll just be another project on Kickstarter that a lot of people may not see. So one way, let me tell you how we stood out. One way we stood out was I lined up a lot of people on the first day of the launch to contribute anything. Kickstarter doesn't really care if people give $10 or $100 or $1,000. They really care about the buzz that the project is getting. So I lined up a lot of people, but not all people, and I'll explain why in a minute. I lined up a lot of people to give on the very first day of my Kickstarter, because if you can get, and there's no hard and fast numbers, I wish I could say if you could get 10 people, if you could get 20 people, but I don't know what the number is. If you can get a lot on your very first day, you have a really good shot at becoming a Kickstarter that we love. I think I had about 15 people give anywhere from like $10 to $50 on the first day. So we're not talking, people giving $1,000. Try to get 10 to 15 people to give somewhere between $10 to $100 on your very first day, and it taps Kickstarter on the shoulder and says, hey, this project is hot, people care about it, people are interested in it, let us take a look at it and see what it is. And if they like the project, which, social justice and projects that are new or different or hot or exciting, and definitely social justice projects, Kickstarter will then put this little seal on it that says this is a Kickstarter project that we love. And then you can get promoted by
Mhm.
Kickstarter. So that's one of the best things you can do, is try to become a Kickstarter project we love. The best way to become a Kickstarter project we love is to be something that is different and is contributing to arts or culture. Or Kickstarter has a lot of gamers, and a lot of tech stuff on it too. But have something that's unique, a project that the world is missing and needs, and then line up 10 to 15 people to support you on the very first day. So Kickstarter says, hey, people are responding to this project. Um, but then I had to have people lined up throughout the whole month to give. The reason why I chose a month instead of 60 days or 90 days is because it created a sense of urgency. So
Mhm.
some people do have their projects up for longer, and that's fine. Everybody, that's just a preference. You know, how long do you want to support this project? How long do you? Because you don't want to just put it up and not talk about it at all. So I thought, about a month was all I could take, because I'm not a seller. I really hate asking people for money. But I knew that this was something I really, really needed to do. And it was all going to a good cause. I didn't make a dime off the Kickstarter, because it all went to illustration, um, graphic design, which is the layout, editing, and printing. Printing is a heavy cost too. On your Kickstarter, if you put on your page where the money is going, people respond well to that too, because people tend to have this image you're going to put the $40,000 in your pocket. And so it just helps people to see, like, no, this is how much this project costs. You're not enriching me and my life. You are truly supporting this project. So I spelled out on our Kickstarter page, which still lives. If you Google Kickstarter Own Voices Project, the Kayla, a Modern Day Princess 5-book picture series will come up, and you can still see to this day what I did and how I built my Kickstarter page. And if you follow that formula, Mia Wengen of Multicultural Children's Book Day, or Read Your World, says that she followed my formula exactly. And she also was successful in her Kickstarter too. Not that I'm taking all the credit for that, but she followed my formula. It helped her also be successful. Um, so those are my top tips for doing a Kickstarter. I definitely think if you have a dream and you have an idea and you're just like totally lost about how to make it happen, crowdfunding is definitely an option that people should consider, because it really does work. That's why it's popular. Um, I don't know, just listening to my story, what kinds of questions do you have about the whole Kickstarter process?
Well, the thing that I was wondering is how much work did you do ahead of time in terms of the actual books? Because I imagine that you had to have some items to display. Like, were the covers already done? Did you have a story written already? Like, excuse me, what stage was it in when the Kickstarter happened?
That's a great question. It definitely wasn't complete, but I had some imagery. And the reason why that's a really good question is because you do want to show people. You don't want to just have a black and white paragraph of like, this is my dream. You do want to give people like a template, or what's the word I'm looking for? I think it starts with a P. It's not protocol.
Oh, like a prototype,
Prototype. You
right?
want to give people a prototype. So I've seen people do all kinds of cool things on Kickstarter, like people who have come up with an idea for a new board game
Mm,
that I think will be highly successful, but they don't have the money to pay for the board game. So they
right.
come kind of like a prototype, not the actual board game. It gets in people's minds like, this is how this would
Hmm.
look. And the number one reason why people want to give to Kickstarter, um, aside from just that it's cool and you get to help people make their dreams come true, the number one reason people give Kickstarter is probably that you get to be part of, of that. And if I did Kickstarter, I probably would include people's names that had donated to the Kickstarter in the book. And that really feeds people's spirit. Like, I really did help bring this dream to life, which is a really cool thing. So I had some imagery. The imagery that's on the website still, on the Kickstarter website still, is all I had in the beginning, but the books were nowhere near complete. I really did need to raise the money to finish the project.
And what about they're not freebies because people have paid money, but the
Yeah.
rewards, I guess, is that what they're called? Because you have to think about that because you want something really good. Because I know that that is enticing when you're considering donating, and especially if you're considering how much, you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll give a little bit more because I want to get a signed copy of the book when it's out, or so people are donating, but then you have costs. I mean, that must be kind of hard to balance because you want something good enough to get people to donate, but then part of the money that you're raising is going to go to giving people the rewards.
Yeah,
So how did you figure out how to do that?
definitely. And that's a great question. People 100% want their rewards. They don't want to just give money. And I think now, kind of on Kickstarter, it's kind of expected. Like, I want my perks.
Yeah,
there's,
I think so.
I mean, that's really kind of cool. And I have a love of Broadway, and I would love to get the Kayla series to Broadway. And I thought about doing the Kickstarter to try to get the Kayla series to Broadway, although it would be huge. I mean, you need millions of dollars to get to Broadway, but there have been people who have raised millions on Kickstarter. Um, so there are lots of perks that people expect when you do things like that. Like when you contribute to a Broadway show, people want like several tickets to opening night. And then I shouldn't say every Broadway show, but most Broadway shows, probably every Broadway show has some kind of big opening night party to celebrate the opening night. So then people want that opening night party. So there are all kinds of perks that you can give people. And that's why I thought about putting the names of the people who contributed in the book, because that's a perk that wouldn't cost any money.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
right?
So try to think of perks that won't, break the bank. You don't want to raise $1,000 and then spend 5,000 on perks. But we have things like stickers, and stickers are relatively inexpensive to print. We had a special box that the books could come in. We had lots of things that were special perks that we were going to order anyway. Like, we were going to order stickers anyway. But because you contributed, you'd get all 5 books, and you would get this sticker series. And we also had another reward, which was really cool, called a stretch goal, which encourages people to try to cross that finish line. Stretch goals are very common in Kickstarter. And so in order for us to get across the finish line, we offered a perk that we already do anyway. So one of the perks that we offered to get us across the finish line was that if people donated a certain amount of money, if we got to that goal, then all of those people would be a part of us giving 100 books away to children who needed the books. So we gave them a Title I school in Louisville. And what's so cool about that is that we donate books every year anyway, but people who get to that project got to be responsible for that batch of books.
Right.
And then
I love that and also it goes to the whole idea of the point of the book,
yeah,
the reason for the book, and kind of taps into the motivation because people want to be part of this cause. Another thing I've seen is I contributed to Kickstarter for a book, and for the lower level, I think the upper levels I think got a print copy of the book, but for the lower levels we got an e-copy.
yes,
Which so you don't have to do the printing costs or the shipping costs for that. So that's another
yeah,
idea. But I love the idea of being part of donating to a school.
yes, I was actually surprised by how many people were happy with the e-copy. I mean, I want the book, but
Right.
I've given to lots of other Kickstarters. One of the things that you really want to do on Kickstarter is you don't want to just get on Kickstarter and raise money, because people can see your activity and who you've supported too. And so you don't want to just get on Kickstarter and be like, give me money, because Kickstarter is a community. So I actually supported Kickstarter too. And here's one of the cool books that I supported, and I got all kinds of perks. Yeah, I got all kinds of perks with this book. Um, but I got some cute little activity things to do, and some really cute stickers, and then like this little bookmark you can use, just cool stuff like that that doesn't cost a lot of money, but I really did like that, and I felt like I was a part of that book to life. So Kickstarter is pretty cool. I was going to say something a minute ago too about making sure that you're keeping people updated, because Kickstarter has a capability of you can go in and update people. So like, when we gave the book to the school, we took a picture of that and updated our group. And so we kept people up to date with the status of where the books were in the process, in the production process, but also what we were doing with our stretch goals. Like today we mailed out stickers, or today we gave books to this school. So keeping people updated is really important also. And I think if we ever did do a Kickstarter again, maybe it would be to go all the way to Broadway, and you already have that built-in back. So all of those people that I've already connected with on that Kickstarter will automatically be notified if I do a Kickstarter again. So I already have a built-in fan club through Kickstarter, which that's pretty cool too. There's a lot of benefits to going on Kickstarter. And I guess the number one thing I've heard from people that they would do differently from me is not have such a high number that they go after. And you definitely, if you get on Kickstarter now and you just search in Kickstarter for books, you'll see that a lot of people are just trying to produce one book, and they're just trying to raise like $3 or $5. And those are very doable goals. $40,000 was a huge goal, but anybody that knows me knows I always go for the max. So,
but like you said, that was also such a an affirmation of the need for this book, and also that people believed in your dream and were supporting this dream.
yeah,
So that must have been such a terrific feeling to have people contribute and to
it was
meet the
an
goal.
amazing feeling because, this was all the way back in 2020. So before George Floyd, before the racial unrest in that summer of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, so I'm still kind of living in the bubble of just care about this. So it was a lot of validation. And the reason why I want to talk about it now, besides the fact that the Kickstarter principles haven't changed, so all of this would still help you if you're interested in doing a Kickstarter. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because we are celebrating 10 years of Makeaway Media this year. All year long, we're celebrating and we're doing giveaways, highlighting the work that we've been doing. And I started Makeaway Media in 2014 when diverse books really just beginning to be talked about. It's everywhere now, but in 2014, it was still a new concept. Like, why do people care about this? And so to do the Kickstarter and have a story about a little brown girl, and to not know if people were really behind it or care, it was exceptionally validating, and lit more fuel to my fire to go to the next level with it too. It made me feel like, wow, if I can do this with a very little tiny team and not a huge budget on Kickstarter, maybe we can get to Broadway, or even tell the story on Netflix. My whole point is just to tell the story to a wider audience, and having that successful Kickstarter affirmed that that's a real possibility.
Definitely. And I think it is such a beautiful story. And like you said, it was when I started thinking about the dates, I was surprised because it did come before. I think we've had like a heightened awareness
Yeah,
about the need for diverse books.
yeah,
So that's pretty amazing that it came kind of in the era before that, just shortly before that, but still before all that happened. And I'm looking at the time, so I want to wrap it up, but I wanted to know if you wanted to give a shout out to what's happening with Makeaway Mindset this
yeah,
weekend, because I think there's still time for people to register.
yeah, I definitely do. If you're interested in free workshops and classes, go to our Makeaway Mindset Instagram page and go to the link in our bio, and you can register for our Zoom class this Saturday morning, which is at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And even if you register and can't make that time, you'll still see the class, and it's going to be packed with good information. I know that we always hear about care and self-love, but a lot of us, don't really know, like, self-care sounds great, but I don't have any time for it. And so I'm going to talk about how to make time for it. And we do. We have time, because you have to make the time, for you, or you're going to end up burning out and won't be any good to around you. So go to Makeaway Mindset, or you can also do the makeaway.com website page, and you can see the whole program, and you can register for the free workshop there. But I'm really excited about that. And what how Makeaway Mindset came about is because Makeaway Media has been so successful, and it's been a journey, and I want to inspire people to follow their dreams too. So I think it's like perfect timing for us to be doing this now in our 10-year celebration of Makeaway Media. I'm empowering people to follow their dreams and listen to their heart. Just like Kayla in the Kayla Modern Day Princess series, she follows her heart despite the world telling her that she doesn't fit in. So Makeaway Mindset is our new program, and I'm just really excited by the buzz that program is already getting. So please join us for that, and please follow us. Also, I write articles on Makeaway Media, articles on DeedeeCummings.com, and I'm going to write an article that's up soon with my top Kickstarter tips. So yeah, that'll be up sometime this month, the month of February. So be on the lookout for that too. And again, you can subscribe to my articles. We don't send you a lot of stuff on DeedeeCummings.com, so don't worry about entering your email, then getting hit with a lot of stuff that you don't want. But I'm excited about everything that we have coming up this year. So thanks for reminding me to talk about that too.
Yeah, and we also, if you go back and look at our archive of IG Lives, either here on Instagram or you can go to the YouTube channel. I think it was 2 weeks ago that we kind of talked more in depth about self-love. But also, if you're interested in publishing or you're thinking about doing your own book, we have a lot of IG Lives, like a whole archive where Deedee is going over different aspects of self-publishing versus traditional publishing, how to find an illustrator, just so many different aspects of that. So you can go and check that out, or message us if there's a question that you're really curious about and maybe we haven't covered.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. It's always so nice to talk with you. And I'm registered for Saturday, so I it should be really good.
I'm so happy to hear that. Bring your coffee or your tea and your favorite notebook, your favorite journal, so you can take notes, your favorite pen. Hey, thanks for saying thank you. I'm so glad to see you all. Yeah, so see you Saturday, and I promise you it's going to be packed with information that is going to help us, because we all need help practicing better self-love.
It's perfect timing for it. So thank you, and thanks everybody who joined us. This will be up in a few minutes on Instagram if you missed the beginning of it, or you can watch it later on our YouTube channel. Bye. So good to see you.
Bye. You too. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you Saturday.